So it is important when you come up with that brilliant plot and a story, you also have to give some thought to your characters, especially your main characters, as it is your main characters that drives your plot and your story forward. You need not only to know what type of person your character is, what your character will have to do in your story or film. You have to know who your characters really are, what they are capable of, why they would do things, why they would not do certain things, what hurts them, what makes them to fear things. And especially what they would need to know or be able to do to solve that problem that they are confronted with in that story or film at the end of the story or film. You see, a character that can do anything, know how to solve his or her problem or other people's problem, is a boring character. But the character who struggles, who need to learn things, who need to discover things, who need to discover who he himself is and what he is capable of, that character makes for an interesting character. But to understand your characters, to realize what it would take for your character to do certain things, and what would drive them not to do certain things, and what would force them to do certain things in the end, even if it's against his will, you need to know the different character archetypes. You need to know what the different character archetypes are like, what type of people they are, what the things are they would do easily and things they would not do easily, what fears they have, what basically drive them in their lives. You need to know the different character archetypes. You need to know that you might find more than one character archetype in one character. You see, a good character do not just appear or jump into existence. A good character is created according to the needs of the plot and or story, according to the needs of who the character is, what the character would do and what the character would not do, and what the character would be willing to do in the end to solve the problem or the dilemma that that character is faced with. You cannot just look at a person in your community who is like the character you have or want to have in your script, story or film. You cannot just go around taking the characteristics of that person that you know in your community, or a person that you saw in the news or heard about, and use that person as a basis for a character in a script. You will end up basically with a one-dimensional character. People are complex beings. And what we see on the surface as we go about in our daily lives of most people are not who those people really are. They aren't in the street that you see shouting at people going past the house for no reason at all. there is a reason why that auntie is like that. Why she acts like that. You might not know that reason. But that reason is there because no one just act in a certain way. There are things that cause us to act in certain ways. So to just base a character on someone you know is not only looking for trouble, but it is looking at destroying that character. As I said earlier, people are complex beings. There are reasons why people do things. There are reasons why a person acts in a certain way. There are reasons why a person would not do certain things, but to do other things very easily. Just so, there must be reasons behind your character's actions. Apart from what the plot and the story ask of that character to do, there must be reasons why the character would do things. Okay. Now you might probably want to know what makes a great character. Is it a goal that character need to reach? Is it something that character want to do or need to do? Yes, those are great questions. But is that the only thing a character needs? Of course not. Remember what I said earlier? Characters are people just like us. They have the same needs. They have the same desires. They want to reach the same goals that we want to. Or they might just be plain lazy. Or they might have no goals at all, but then must be forced to do something which they don't want to do. Then you also get characters that are compulsive. They just do things without thinking. They just act. And you might wonder sometimes, what the hell is going on here? Why do they do this? When you look at Titanic, Rose, the main character in the film, whose story is being told in the film, people wanted to. When you look at Titanic and you look at the story of Rose and you look at Rose, and the story in Titanic was about Rose. It was the Rose's story that was told in Titanic. But why? Ask yourself, why did people, especially women, love the character of Rose? Why did they want her and the character of Leonardo DiCaprio end up at the end of the film? Which did not happen, and which was very important that it should not have happened, because it was not the love story that was important, but Rose's story. And this is why it is so important that you need to know whose story in your film you are telling. And when you look at many South African amateur filmmaker stories, the filmmaker, the writer, has no idea whose story is actually told in the film. But coming back to Rose, Rose was this girl who was brought up in a cocoon, who had to do what was expected from her or of her. She had to act in certain ways. And her boyfriend, Cal, later on in the film found out that Rose wasn't the kind of person or woman he wanted as a wife. He wanted a wife that would say yes boss, no boss, and no, not no boss. He wanted a wife who would jump when he spoke. And when he found out that Rose wasn't that kind of person, he got angry. Especially after Rose met Leonardo DiCaprio's character and found out that what she had was not what she wanted. Your character needs to discover something about him or herself. Then a character needs to find out or discover what he or she is prepared to do, how far he or she is willing to go. Star Wars is a perfect example. Remember in the one of the films, Obi-Wan said that Luke Skywalker would have to face Vader. Yoda, when when Luke told Yoda that he found out who Darth Vader is, Yoda tells him that it's unfortunate that he had to find out who Darth Vader really is and that you would have to face Darth Vader. What they wanted Luke to do was to kill Darth Vader. But what type of person was Luke? Luke wouldn't just go out and kill someone, no matter what people tell him. And that is why Luke tried to save Darth Vader at the end and actually succeeded in doing so, putting his own life on the line. So, what are your character prepared to give up? What are your character willing to let go of to reach his or her goal?